dude's shitting his fucking pants right now. Look at his face.
The final slap. Road to the Title 2, Episode 2 recap show going down. We're here with the team. We've got my man, Big Jeeves. The crowd's giving you the applause. And we've got my man, Big Ding. We're here going to be breaking down episode number 2, all the shenanigans and the fights. That's why you're here. Mr. Producer, run that intro. We're back, boys. Second week, Road to the Title 2, Episode 2, just finished. What did you guys think overall?
Man, they started this episode off with a banger. They didn't make us wait long for a fight. We got one right away, and they capped off the episode with one as well. So this one is action-packed. We can't wait to get into it with you guys, but I was stoked on this episode.
Yeah, I mean, you know what? Outside of the fights, it was a pretty dry episode. Ding. Is this the sign of more to come? What do you think?
Yeah, man. I mean, like Jeeves said, I think they got right into it. I definitely appreciate a 30-minute episode. I think that was an interesting move. It is action-packed. You start with a slap, you end with a slap. We get to know a little bit about everyone, so the format is pretty similar, but I definitely appreciated being able to start the episode with a bang, kind of pick up where you left off last episode, no boring stuff, and then you get into some of the nitty-gritty of each of the guys we're going to see in a minute, and then we see them, and boom, we move to the next one. So I loved it. I think the format this season's serves them a lot better.
What do you guys think? 30 minutes, the right amount of time? Too short? Too long? What do you think?
I think so, man. Like, Power Slap came up to attention on TikTok, so we already know that those short attention spans are what this sport is geared towards. It's action-packed, boom, 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 all the time. So I think 30-minute episodes is just perfect. Like, even you see podcast things like that, anything times it kind of gets over 30 minutes, it starts getting a little dry. This is, like we keep saying, action, a little bit of, banter in the house, and then more action, and just caps it right off.
Yeah, I agree, man. I think 30 minutes is the perfect mark. I'm glad they made that adjustment after season 1 for sure.
Yeah, I mean, great to see. Obviously, they've extended it from 8 episodes to 12, so they must have got enough content to make it exciting. It's been exciting so far. I mean, we definitely can't complain of that. We're seeing the two contrasts of styles. I mean, we're seeing KO Chris, coming from, Idaho upbringing, now in, North Dakota. And we've got the California kid, Emmanuel Munez. Very different styles in the way that they're teaching and coaching their athletes. So we're going to see how that unfolds, and we're going to see the success that both coaches has. What do you guys think? Ding, Emmanuel Munez saying that he can make a living from Power Slap and he no longer has to work the food truck. What do you think, my man?
Bro, I was impressed, man. I mean, I think couple what he's making from not only the show, but his appearances in the numbered series, on top of a little bit of money management. I think the guy's got himself a good gig going for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, a title shot up against KO Chris is definitely going to bring that payday. We know most of these guys signed 6-fight contracts originally, and we're seeing some of these guys now coming into the numbered cards here, getting up 5 and 6. They're coming to the end of that first contract. Jeeves, we've seen Dana White talk about this being a $450 million business when you have the CEO of the company coming out and stating that is what the company is worth. How do you think that puts Power Slap in terms of a negotiation standpoint going into these second contracts with the fighters and the title holders for that as well?
Yeah, I mean, there's this sport is picking up steam. There's no way to hide that. The last 9-10 months that we've been doing this and following the sport along, we've seen it grown. So those numbers aren't surprising to me. They are bigger than I thought, but that's great for the sport. And when it comes to the strikers and, let's say, salaries and stuff like that, I'm sure it will grow with the sport. As the money starts coming into the sport, we know that that's just how it works. Capitalism, man. You make the money, you pay you guys out, you keep the ship rolling. So I think it's great.
Yeah, I think it's great for the athletes to be able to do so, to be able to focus on this. We've heard that the roster is growing now in Power Slap. probably up to upwards of 130 athletes within their queue under contract now. And, with there being, 8 to 10 fights, that's really 16 to 20 different opportunities that fighters have every numbered card. And, so obviously not every fighter is on every single card. So being able to get those purses up will allow more athletes to continue to do this full time, to be able to train incredibly hard. Ding. Looking at this episode specifically, was there anything else that stood out to you from, an entertainment or cultural side? Is there anything that you've seen from the guys in the house that kind of took you off guard or surprising, or even like, what'd you think about Danny Van Heerden, offering up some beef jerky to Jonathan Boone and asking him if he'd like to have some while his jaw still worked?
Oh, bro, you know me too well, man. I thought it was hilarious when he says, I think the quote was, "Hey, would you want some while you can still chew?"
So good, man.
Look, man. I mean, he's got 5 kids. He's got a million siblings. He's from South Africa. This guy's massive. I thought it was interesting. You don't usually see. I think maybe because of the infancy of the sport, maybe that's why they're so comfortable. You usually don't see people outwardly say, like, "I'm terrified of this person." It just doesn't give off this huge aura of confidence to me. I was surprised to see Jonathan Boone do that, but I think based on what we saw in some of his real footage and his B-roll of him kind of trying to do his intro, I think that's part of his personality. But I'm not gonna lie to you, I was pretty surprised to hear him say, like, this guy's terrifying. And I'm in for a rude awakening is basically what he said.
I mean, Jonathan Boone, Jeeves, on the swing. Multiple takes.
Yeah.
Is that the best footage they got from Jonathan Boone, is what we've seen in the show?
Man, this is the greatest part about Power Slap, is that these are just regular guys. And, you hand a guy a camera and you tell him, hey, go film yourself, do a little monologue. This is what you're going to get sometimes. This is raw. This is real. To speak about regular guys doing something amazing. You guys probably noticed my video. We are having some difficulties, but you guys can hear me. I can hear you. So we're going to keep this rolling.
Yeah, absolutely, my man. At least they got you in a good frame. Your eyes are open. It could have been worse. You could have been making some twerking face or something.
Oh, man, yeah.
All ratchet or something, man. So
I'll see it later.
Yeah, G's probably has his pants off at this point. So hey, we got you back. We got you back, my man.
They can't see me. All right, let's do this. Let's do this.
Too funny.
For a moment, G's, I thought you were John Cena, dude.
Hey, you can't see me. All right,
awesome,
we're back.
Man.
But man, Jonathan Boone, he's an interesting cat. You can tell, like, the down home family roots that the guy has. And I'll tell you what, we're pretty far north up here in Canada. When I couldn't understand his monologue, I'll be completely honest. It took me a second to hone in and figure out what he was really saying.
Totally. Crazy cats down there in Texas, my man. We got, follow along on our social. We're going to be dropping a little cool little skit that we did up for you guys. So it'll be good. But let's talk about Logan Greenhalgh. We talked about him on the fantasy show. He was one of the core 4 athletes that we believe should be in your lineup for the fantasy Power Slap. Ding, Logan Greenhalgh. Do you think he's good? Do you think his stardom that has started here with that one slap can take him into the upper rankings? What do you think his limit is?
Oh man, absolutely. I think the kid's got a lot of talent. He's very young. They made a lot of that on the show. They said, both of these two guys, him and Will Woods, were both kind of the youngest competitors that they've had. We talked about this before. The heavyweight champion of the world, Dibbell, is very young, and it's interesting when you see these guys like Jonathan Boone, who's 37 years old, and then you got these guys who are 21, 22. I don't know that we've figured out exactly what the sweet spot is for Power Slap competitors, but I think Logan Greenhalgh, at his age, he exudes confidence. He went up there. I think we'll get into this a little deeper as we go on, but he looked like he was meant to be there. He looked like he knew what he was going to get done. He wasn't surprised when he got the finish, and his opponent looked every bit of terrified at every stretch of the word, throughout the entire process. I think at one point in time, Dana actually made a comment about it. And so, I was impressed with him not kind of being struck by the lights, right? Especially at that age. Kudos to Logan Greenhalgh on a great performance.
Mr. Producer, what did Dana White say? Do we got it up? I think we do.
I think we
This
do.
dude's shitting his fucking pants right now. Look at his face.
There we go. Let's talk about William Woods a little bit.
Yeah.
They talked about him having a drug problem or an addiction.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to do this for his kids. What do we see from him? And do we think we're going to see him back, or do you think it's kind of one and done?
I mean, we've seen a lot of guys come in here with some heart. I'd say probably half the league or more is definitely up there for a reason. There's very few guys, I think, that are coming in there just for no reason at all. So to be able to see this, and again, going back to the point of Power Slap changing lives, I love it, man. Dana White's created a new lane for guys to come up. We know even with the first generation, we have guys like Andrew Fields, Cole Young. They all have kids that they're taking care of, sick kids that mean a lot to them. So to see this continue with the casting for this show, I love it. I think it's a great thing that they're doing for these guys.
Mm-hmm. Dang, what do you think, my man?
Yeah, man. I mean, look, there was a little bit of a clip of William Woods, kind of crying and talking about his kids. As a father, I think if you're at that point where you're shedding a tear and it's about the way that you represented yourself while your kids are watching, there's nothing stronger than that willpower to come back and give those kids what you think that they deserve. So I have confidence we'll see him in there again, and he'll turn this around.
Yeah, I mean, the reality TV show gives people an opportunity to be seen by the masses, for us to be able to get the behind the story. So I think it's absolutely perfect for the setting of this. It's going to be hard to say if we see William Woods back. I mean, I'm not sure. With the rosters expanding, as we talked about earlier, these round one guys may not get that chance to come back. I mean, because ultimately we know that they want to fill out the roster at the top in each of these divisions with talent that they see themselves continue on, that have their opportunity to climb the ladder. I mean, he does have youth for him. So, 20, 21, 22 years old. He definitely has that on his side. Maybe, we just seen a snippet of it. We didn't see too much on the overall show with him. But it was interesting what Chris Thomas said, that he thinks he was, in the wrong weight class. So seeing him potentially drop down, to a light heavy or even maybe a middle, might be something that could serve him a little bit better if he does have that hard determination and will, and and is there for the right reasons and trying to do it. So if he can get himself in a little bit better shape, I think all of us could agree that he could certainly drop down in weight class. And we're seeing guys like obviously Austin Turpin and even Emmanuel Munez, his coach, dropping down to take on KO Chris. So definitely not a bad strategy for him. I'm just going to take a blanket statement. I almost feel like a lot of these fighters can probably drop down a weight class, to be honest with you, on this show. And I'm not sure why. I'm not sure why guys would come in with some of that excess weight. And maybe it was the way the casting was. Maybe they didn't have time. They didn't know. But a lot of these guys, I think I would have liked to seen in a little bit better shape going in. Probably 60%, 60 to 70% of them could probably drop down in a weight class, by just kind of getting in the gym, shedding some of that excess fat, increasing some of that mobility, and it'll give them an opportunity to go up against some of the guys that have more experience. Because when they're on the show and they don't have the experience, we talk about athleticism versus experience, and experience winning out right now. And, if they can get an opportunity to be able to actually shed some of that weight, drop down, be a little more athletic, and learn from these guys, hopefully they'll be able to bridge that gap, with the experience until they kind of get going. Let's get into it. I mean, we've been waiting here for a special appearance by the heavyweight champion, Damien Dibbell, but it looks like he's having some technical difficulties getting in. So why don't we get into it? The three of us will talk about Logan Greenhalgh versus William Woods. Tail of the tape. We've got Logan Greenhalgh, 4 inches higher, about 20 pounds heavier. Just, the body type, very, very different right off the hop. You can tell Logan's in the gym.
Yeah, Logan's definitely one of the fitter guys that came into the house, or it looks like he has a base of some sort of athleticism or training of some kind.
Yeah, absolutely. William Wood starting off here, getting the first opportunity to slap the guy's left hand down, bringing it up. Very bottom heavy.
Very.
We get a club right off the bat to start. Bad placement from William, pretty deep, as you can see.
You know, with a lot of these new guys, it's going to be getting used to the body awareness of giving a strike, because slapping somebody outside of these bounds and these rules is much different than having to do it. So being aware of your body and knowing how to control yourself so you're not just swinging wildly and clubbing or stepping is going to be very important for these guys. And now we see Logan Greenhalgh up, so let's see what happens here.
Yeah, Ding, walk us through it, buddy.
Yeah, I mean, so like Dana says, I mean, William Wood's the body language doesn't look good, man, and Logan's got all the confidence there. He's got a good base, and you know, he really transfers that weight. You know, you saw Emmanuel talk about it in the episode. Transferring the weight is very important to make sure you don't step. He did a great job at doing just that. I will say though, boys, I was a little surprised by the closed eyes when Logan got hit. Usually that's not something we see. You know, usually you want to know when the strike's going to hit. So you know when to brace, and you also can ensure that you don't flinch. I was kind of surprised that he closed his eyes on that first, when he took that first hit.
Yeah, but what a great hit from Logan. We very rarely get to see lefties. I think, if I'm not mistaken, Dane's the only one we've seen strike left consistently, and then Hawaiian ambidextrous, he switches it up a bit. But to see somebody come with a left, this might be a wild card for a lot of strikers getting hit that hard with the left hand.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, you know, I thought it was interesting, you know, right from the get-go, KO Chris talking about the feeling. I feel like you've got this before he even gets going. You know, I feel like Chris is doing a phenomenal job coaching up his guys this season. And so it'll be interesting to be able to see where kind of, you know, where it unfolds with the victories and see who takes the overall title between Chris and Emmanuel. But Logan Greenhalgh moving on to that second round, just as we thought. I mean, we didn't know, obviously, that he was going to get a round one KO. So if you are following along in fantasy, that's an extra 10 points right there for you. So incredible to see that actually happening. So, you know, Logan Greenhalgh coming out, making an impression on the brass of Power Slap. Dana White definitely sets himself up well going into round two. We're not sure when we're going to see it, but I am excited to see when this kid gets that opportunity to be back up there, because he has proven that he has the power. We've seen him take the one slap, but the way that is the makeup of his neck being wider than his head, I think is going to serve him incredibly well. And you know, he's definitely someone that I think can fit into those rankings relatively quickly. Should he come out of the show? I think I could see him getting a pretty good contender there in the heavyweight division. You know, he's sitting at 245, so he's kind of in that tweener spot. I mean, he either needs to put on, 10 pounds of muscle, or he needs to try and drop some weight, potentially to kind of get down to that light heavy. I mean, the guy would be a monster at light heavy if he could ever make it down there. But I don't know. I mean, it's hard when you're right in the middle of the weight cap like that. I mean, geez, like, how often do you see guys in MMA? I mean, I guess MMA is a little bit different. You need to have a little bit more agility. But in the heavyweight division, where do you see guys in the MMA kind of come in that heavyweight category?
As far as weight goes, I mean, there's a big kind of, I guess it's extreme on both ends of the spectrum. You have this new wave of heavyweights who are very athletic. They talk about them moving like middleweights, and then you've got a lot of guys who come in a little closer to the edge of the scale. I think ultimately it depends. I mean, we've seen 100-pound difference in the super heavyweight division pay out for the person who's 100 pounds lighter. So I don't think that it's the worst thing in the world. It really just depends.
Gotcha. Yeah, well, we'll see here in Power Slap, man. I mean, I think one of the beautiful things about Power Slap is that everybody can be turned off if they're hitting the right spot. And I think from a fan perspective and a gambling perspective, it's one of those wild sports that anything can truly happen. I know we always laugh and we say that Sean Strickland's the middleweight champion, but honestly, my man, you never know what can happen here in Power Slap. But we do have an appearance from the Power Slap heavyweight champion of the world. Damien, Dibbell. What's up, my man? How you doing?
Hey man, how's it going? I'm doing good, man. Always.
Really good, man. Awesome. I appreciate you joining us here, man. I know it's short notice, but love to have you on. What do you think of the Road to the Title Series 2 so far?
Honestly, I think that definitely up the quality. That you could see they've been putting in the work to improve the show so far. All the fighters look great. I'm excited to see how they do for these upcoming fights, the first rounds. It's always rough seeing the first rounds because there's a couple guys that you're looking at and like really hoping they do well, and then they get knocked out round one. And it's like, well, shit. Well, overall, it's been pretty great.
Yeah, absolutely, my man. I mean, you missed it there earlier, but we're gonna run it back for you. Logan Greenhalgh versus William Woods. We're gonna give you a condensed version of the fight. I want you to narrate it for us, my man, in real time, seeing these heavyweights go up against each other.
Ooh.
Mr. Producer, let's go.
Some young bucks for you, Bell.
Yeah, some younger competition for once.
What are your first impressions of these guys, just seeing them off the jump?
Honestly, just they look like fighters. Like they look like they want to compete, but I don't know if they're quite ready for like top tier matches right now. They definitely got their work cut out for them.
So you saw William Woods,
club right off the bat.
Was this something you were expecting, maybe, Damien? Like with all the new guys, we kind of talked about it in the last episode, but because they're so new to the sport, like seeing clubs and steps, it's gonna be par for course this season.
Oh yeah, most definitely. It's just what happens when you bring in a lot of newer guys. You're gonna get stepping, you're gonna get clubbing. I'm surprised we haven't seen more flinches actually, because that's a really big one for newer guys.
Mm-hmm.
So,
what do
Bell,
you think?
What do you make of it? Yeah, exactly. What do you think of this body language? I mean, what are you seeing here?
Actually, I can't see any. There's supposed to be a screen popped up or something for me because I don't see nothing.
Oh, you can't see the fight at all?
No.
Interesting. Okay. All of us see the fight.
Yeah.
All right.
Hold on.
Mr. Producer, let's take it off, my man. The bell can't see it. We're all talking for nothing. You did a really good job of playing it off, though. I will say that.
He was doing well.
I was definitely playing it off well, but I was like, man, what?
So what were you seeing then? I'm curious.
No, I just remember because I've already watched the show. I've been looking up because I've had a lot of free time, so I've looked up my competition and I'm trying to see all these new guys, see who I have to look out for. And so far, honestly, the biggest guys in heavyweight, probably Ellis, Logan, definitely two to watch for, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, Ellis, I believe, is coming up next week, right? On the third episode, going up against the dude with the crazy hair,
Miles Jackson.
Yeah.
6'8". That got me. I was like, wow, man, 6'8", and then Brian Ellis comes in at 6'6".
Jeez. I
mean, Bell, you're pretty tall yourself, man, but what do you make of that? I mean, these guys are massive. They're getting bigger.
They honestly just try to bring in the biggest people they could find. It's like it's wild. Like 6'8" versus 6'2", like that's a 6-inch difference. Definitely gonna play a factor in future matches, but it's nice seeing them bring in some bigger competition.
Yeah, for yourself at your height, you're kind of like fairly average when it comes to the heavyweights, like height wise. What difference does it make having to strike someone that much taller than you, if any at all?
Honestly, it depends on how bad the height difference is, because if it's like a really big height difference, it's definitely gonna play a factor just for reaching over the table to actually hit them. But for heavyweights, it just changes up the technique. It's not so much of like an impact on like who has the advantage. It's just, I gotta change my swing, I gotta change how I'm throwing my hooks. Like maybe I'll switch it up a little bit, but that's what impacts more, not really favoritism in like the actual competition. Just at least in my opinion.
Yeah. Awesome, my man. What's going on with you, my man? Is there anything in the works for you coming up? Anything you could share with us? You still training hard?
Still training, still just doing my thing. I haven't gotten a call about anything, so I I'm still in the wind about February, maybe April for a fight. So, looking at a long stretch between fights, I'm just trying to hone in on training and really get in shape for my next fight.
Awesome. Is there anything that, I mean, you're the champ, but I mean, is there anything that you could still improve on at this point?
Oh yeah, most definitely. I could definitely get into better shape. I'm a heavyweight, but I'm still a little chubby, so I could definitely work on that. I could work on my speed. I could work on my power. There's more techniques to try. There's plenty to work on still, even at the top level.
Awesome, my man. Is there any dream matchup that you kind of have that you're kind of eyeing up right now?
Honestly, honestly, not really. I mean,
No?
I just from a guess, I expect Dorian or Ryan to be next for me because, I've already taken out Nate and Dwayne, and that's number 1 and number 2 right there. So
Yeah.
now it's going. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if I ended up fighting a winner from the house, or they had a winner fight for a title contender spot against one of these guys, and then I take the winner of that fight. I can definitely see that happening, but as far as like for me, it's just whoever they send at this point.
Awesome, my man. I really appreciate you joining us here on the Final Slap. Hopefully we'll have you back as some of the other heavyweight matchups come on the road to the title season 2. All right, my man. Take care, buddy. We'll talk to you soon.
Have a good one, man.
Thanks, my man. The next man
Ooh.
needs no introduction. Should we just call him Mr. Power Slap from now on? Mr. Slap. Let's go. The crazy Hawaiian. Get in here, my man.
Big dog. Mr. Smack Salad.
Baby. I'll get my smack salad, baby.
Let's go.
What's up, boys?
How you doing, my man? How you feeling overall?
I'm good, man. I'm blessed. This road is crazy. It's been a crazy road, and now just being here and being all in my glory right now, it's surreal.
Awesome, my man. What do you think of seeing the new heavyweights? We've got some Hawaiians. We've got a South African. What do you think of these big boys?
I've gotten to know the South African Danny, and he's funny. He is funny. He's working hard. He said he won't, we already made a bet. If he beats me, I chop my beard off. If I beat him, he chops his hair off. So
okay.
we already kind of talked about it on a live on his Instagram live, and he's in my weight class, so he's already trying to assert his dominance and trying to assert his own agenda on this path of greatness. But it's just gonna be another one that I have to take down. It's gonna be another one that thinks that they got it, but I'm different. I'm different than anyone else, and I don't think anyone can prepare themselves for what I'm bringing into the table right now.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, my man. We're going to play for you actually right now. Jonathan Boone versus Danny Van Heerden. I want you to commentate over it, my man. Let us know in real time what you think. All right.
All right, let's go.
Let's go. There we go. 50-pound weight difference. Yeah.
Right. Okay.
6'7", 6'2".
I don't know. Danny looks a lot bigger than than 340. I don't know. Maybe it's just his belly, but they go line up. He's got a good form of not looking away. See, when people look away, that's the biggest thing right there. When people look away, it doesn't give you. It's not like looking away and then going to shoot a 3. You know what I mean? It's different. You know what I mean? You're trying to. Yeah, no, that's basically a club. Yeah, look, they called it for a club. So these guys are all inexperienced, but
that was
I've heard about the pit bull, Danny, and I've heard he's fast for being a big boy like his size or whatever. I've heard he's fast, but Yeah, I mean, and I always preach about the speed. So let's see it. What do you got? What is it? Right on three.
The
1,
big fucker too.
2. Big fucker.
Clean.
I mean, it is what it is. It's I don't want to give him too much pointers, but you see, like to me, the experience plays a lot in yeah, I mean, in this game. So let's see what round 2 brings.
Yeah.
Come on, Boone. He's a big dude. He's a big dude. You see, looking away stuff, that will be the first thing I teach my guys if I'm a coach.
Oh, he's eating
Okay,
that.
all
He's
right.
eating that.
Okay, he took a play for my book. Okay,
There it is.
all right.
Yeah.
Is this the show?
Yes.
What do you?
Have they released it already?
This is the
I thought
after show, buddy. It's
Oh wow.
So I will say something here. I like the way Danny's lining up. He's giving himself space in the box. Because we saw with your fight with Polar Bear, he was standing so close to you. That was
I had to
another
back
good
up a
one.
little bit. Yeah, that was a good one.
The guys with the long arms need to learn to back up a little bit, because then you're sort of pulling your hand back at the moment of impact to try to strike, and you're killing your swing, you know?
Yeah, and also being too far. Being too far is also another thing too.
Yes, you got to find that sweet spot for your body.
I don't know if they have it as a regulated rule, but going high should be clubbing. You know what I mean, going high to the orbital bone, that should be called a club.
Yeah. I
in
think
a
Oscar
sense,
Turpin would agree.
yeah, in a sense of placement is everything, and it's literally just a slap in the right spot. So let's see what Boone got. This is round 3. Let's
Round
go.
3, yeah.
2. All right. I mean,
Unfazed.
Not too much.
he's
there.
he's got to go get. He's got to back up a little bit. Boone's got to back up just a tad bit, maybe like a half step.
Look at him swaying.
Yeah, no, that's not good. The doctor should pick up on that, because if you're not able to stand still without swaying back and forth, then obviously, you should be looked at.
Yeah, you can see Chris doing his best to try to stabilize him there, hold him in place, try to get him to
He's
catch
backing
his
up.
legs. Oh,
Yeah, he can't. Yeah, there you go, doctor. There you go,
Yeah.
doc. Get in there, doc. Good shit. That's why Power Slap's the fucking #1 in the world.
Yep.
That's why Power Slap's doing the shit right. Everyone needs to learn and take some notes.
Mhm.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Good job, Power Slap. Good job, officials. Good job, doctor, for stepping in. Because if he didn't step in, I would have already kind of called it a win for Danny anyway. But
Yeah. So Danny takes the victory there. Danny didn't get a third slap in that one, but taking home the victory. Danny, obviously, to me, seemed like Danny's much more business oriented, where Jonathan Boone, he lost the bet to go into Power Slap. And he give him all the credit in the world for showing up. But I just don't think he was ready for this stage, this moment, and this time. But the Danny Van Heerden, like you said, you've been talking to him. He's has slap fighting experience back in South Africa. Do you think this guy can come into the ranks and make some damage at the superweight heavy division in Power Slap?
He has to. We need guys in my weight division. There's not a lot. You know what I mean? So anybody that's stepping into the super heavyweight ranks, or want to be ranked in the super heavyweight, they need to come in with some heat. You know what I mean? They come in with some fire. Knockouts is obviously where you want to be at. But Power Slap needs to give some love to the guys that are going to wars too. You know what I mean? It's not always about the knockouts. Obviously, knockouts go viral, but we have to give it to the guys that are equally as physical or equally as skilled, and give them some shining light on working hard to become where they're at right now, and for them to go head to head with somebody that's in the same exact mindset, physicality, skills, and go all the rounds and win by unanimous decision. Those guys need to be shed some light on too, because when you don't get a knockout, I know this for a fact. When you don't get a knockout, it's really like, I mean, it's like man, I didn't do what I'm supposed to do. But they're missing the point of actually getting up there and being on this stage, because, man, I've been on a lot of stages, and this Power Slap stage is the biggest stage in the world. Is the most organized one, is the most promoted one. And if you're coming into this, this sport thinking, I'm gonna just come right off the couch, you're sadly mistaken. I've been a victim of that. You know what I mean? I went up there and I was knocking guys out before Power Slap, and then all of a sudden I couldn't knock nobody out. So I unplugged my PC. I stopped playing video games. I did what I needed to do to become champ, because I knew if I was continuing to do this all right off the couch, some real talent will be in front of me, which, the title fight was a real talented athlete. So I really had to get going with that. You guys are gonna see a lot more of me, my training, what I do on my daily stuff. It's a big deal to be here. So anyone in the sport that's coming into the super heavyweight division, just be ready, because we got some bangers like Danny. We got some bangers like my brother. We got some bangers coming up, and I've seen a couple sumo wrestlers in there. So we'll see how the whole sumo wrestling goes. You know what I mean? How they freaking they prepare for it. So man, the road to the title. Let's go.
Let's go.
Let's go. Awesome, my man. The Crazy Hawaiian, we appreciate you as always. This is the Final Slap, episode 2. Road to the Title 2, episode 2 just took place. Wrap it up, finish it down. Nobody's doing it better than Slap News in the Game, bringing you 3 shows every single week. Mr. Producer, get that schedule up there. We are bringing you the Fantasy Show on Monday, the Final Slap, the live after show post coverage on Wednesdays, and Fridays. We're bringing you exclusive interviews and analysis. Watch out, Slap News on YouTube and Instagram coming at you weekly, bi-weekly, tri-weekly right now, all the way to the end, the entire 12 weeks of the road to the title.